One of my favorite political actors once said, "It always seems impossible until it is done." And that was said by the late Nelson Mandela. A lot of times we hear and we see people who are so passionate about Ghana and how did they contribute through politics. And I mean, it starts from senior high schools when people contest for boys prefect, girls prefect, go to tertiary institutions. We have the SRC, we have GAPS, we have NUCs, and then it goes on like that. And today I have two aspiring lawyers, two fine gentlemen who have both worked as student leaders and still in politics. And unscripted, so there you can be is unscripted. To be you can't in now make I must say ATL and I'm a to my fair a shemi ATL dear. Baby I'll be could be in 20 and to my papa neighbor so at that form. From shops, baby, and numbers. Now screen so open, and I saw baby, I will be answered on what the ebe brown. Ebio also encoma Peacock Studios now on a SAC meaning come oh your wedding, oh your graduation, birthday party, be na oh your nase unya, makeup artist are unim na juma ye na odin time so now our friend Peacock Studios. Beauty Plus HGH on na IMT Shamame. Now open wa and nama and one news you at the open rate and I say so open purple and I say their friend and you queen ya chance. Now our friend I don't fans a one on the mouth. They had the na what the bonkoyan. One person with the abin said one Okones house on the crowd or something like Papa Kwan. Where but this unscripted with me do I do Usuadama. You try ya ba ya better also.
Whatever the occasion, with ATL, you can never be out of style. ATL, bringing fabric to life.
Welcome back, yes, Badu Unscripted. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channels and follow us on all our social media handles at Badu Unscripted. Your Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Unscripted. Unscripted. Any favorite entertainment show. And now you need a man team. You know everything come most of the media can you know. Baku more pro MPP. And now Baku so pro NDC. Now omu nyina so omo make say omo je say omo de ankasa omo de pa say unhom na utie omo no masama make say mante say politics na ye twemo fuma na ye de kakra eso so e ma wo ye wo idi Muhayudin na oye NUCS secretary NUCS ye kwa anase Ghana school nyina school poni nyina o makom ho abom na oye o mo twetwefo e na ye wo Mr. Kabunati ono so ebeye after idino and 3 years later and o hand it over e ma no within a chair ono so abodi mo nyina so e wo school pon e yon person be lawyer for na o ma die asem e dia maye e mate makwaba.
He's my senior, so maybe I just entered.
And I have Idi, that is Idi, and this is KABU. And then you become youth in politics, and I say leadership. You take the brave, even who a man no ebi ebojuma, omo dem voices eboa amagana etumpon started free tertiary go school na do ho e den na e ma wo idi we ye wa hwe se odo hu e ba ko hye sadi.
Okay, medical achia otiefoni wa hwefo nyina na ma make statement say me twini ye papa science me mix with brofo say same twina na make kind. So by and large me joining student. Okay, how am I starting my political life through my friends and student service back in primary school where I was a school prefect. And it didn't mean my reason because at that time now all just about service. Into primary school, that's where I started my political life and I GHS school prefect. Into me by secondary school, that's when I began to really appreciate leadership and because at that time now issues will be affecting students. Then now as a leader you are having to lead that and champion their cause for them. And by university, and then I served at the SRC too, and then I felt that. So it's all about passion. It's all about wanting to see things become better. It's all about bettering your own conditions, whether as students or as a people generally. I did how I affect you, then you think that you deserve better. So the quest for a better service is the driving force, what will make people want to engage, at least from my perspective. And so that I would say is the motivation why me joining, if you like, politics. Yes, it depends. I believe in the concept of constructive engagement because your leaders, you know, I mean, it's not, they didn't just become leaders. Obviously, they went through, a lot of them went through their anxiety, that sense of discernment or more. And they say, oh, case, and they say, case ni genuine. Now you sit down with them. And you never say, aluta. Even though nooks here, more to near aluta continue. But first and foremost, I was saying kind now no muntinasi, so you can dissect the issues. Once they grant you hearing, just depends on your case. Genuine Cassandra, naturally you may get answers, but sometimes they may omit my prove stubborn. I mean, you are human. So in the baby sano, then you then follow up with the plan B, and then some trace ni and your mouth. Sometimes that is the language that the Ghanaian politician understands.
Okay, when it started for him, primary school, was story different, Anna?
Oh no, not entirely different. And normally, anyone who wants to go into leadership will be a person, a leader of a country or even in a community, best starting from a very tender age, primary, junior high, senior high, and all that. And so we were the prefect. But when say university, it's
different.
It's quite different. And so for me, that was the place. I took leadership very serious, and I noticed that GIJ. An administration where no one was criticizing them. And to me, and so when I entered, I noticed that there was the need to keep them in check. So I started with this advocacy. So I started with writing. If I notice that something is wrong, then I write and caution them and bring their attention in. In the process of doing that, I noticed that, in a system where no one was talking, it turns out to be quite an anarchy situation, because students pay almost their dues. Students also have fees that they pay, and so those who are put into such leadership positions should be more of like a social contract. They're supposed to lead them, solve their problems, sometimes washroom and all those things. It was not being done, and so I started saying metro because no one was talking about it. In the process of that, I noticed that people were noticing some qualities in me that I can actually serve. Because in our times, it's not just okay to talk. Sometimes you need to suggest. You tell the person that what you are doing is not right. So what are you suggesting? In football, you give them advice. So there, I got subsequent appointments to serve in positions and all that. And I still notice that I'm quite not happy with, wrong things being done until I moved it to another level. So that's why I went to the National Union of Ghana Students, NUCS, and became the General Secretary. And so for me, briefly, that's how it started. But let's also be frank. Sometimes leadership, sometimes you want to have some bit of good name, a dimpa, right? And so sometimes it's not really about solving the problems, but you want to be remembered that you contributed to it or you tried. And Usha TV, I mean, people watch your show and all that. They see politicians well dressed, they articulating their views, diagnosing problems. Say BBC, the way a leader would solve the problem, he will look at the problem first, the challenge, and then we'll find a solution. Sometimes we'll ask the people. The beauty of all these things, sometimes pushes some people to go into politicking and leadership. So, for me, these were some of the driving factors.
But one of the things, you could write. I know both of you are good writers. In fact, prolific writers. I was son of a Putino. But people say eloquence is not enough. Being able to write is not enough. When we come to student leadership, and I say student in politics, is it enough? We put me and I say we could take a position, and I say there should be something more.
There should be something really more, because Senior talked about making noise, aluta, and then for leaders to heed to your call. Omofre will say, okay, Brian Kasa. Now, normally, at that instance, you will see if just writing and talking is what is needed for leadership. Because sometimes they tell you that, okay, so what can we do? They throw it to you. And it gives practical example. GIJ, I remember when I was the chief of staff, or more of like the manager of the SRC president, Kuma, we had issues about fees where the school sacked some students and they took to the street. In fact, it was that aluta or protest that led me to climb a tree. So they call me the Zacchaeus of our time, because things were going wrong and the president was nowhere to be found. So I had to take responsibility into my hand. So I had to climb a tree and address the students. They were very angry, and I had to calm down. No, that's the level. Now, long story short, we had management call us, and for the first time, a chief of staff or someone who is not even recognized, I had to be at the meeting. And I was forceful with my thoughts and gave suggestions that, the school is a bit careful not to rescind on its decision, because sometimes they feel that we will think they are weak. And so, and we also were pushing that the students deserve to write, because it's their right. I mean, you should not end the education because they couldn't pay their fees. A lot of parents are going through a lot of things that the leaders, are not aware. So we had to suggest that then let's find a compromise. Let's come out with a joint statement. Give us some part of the items we are asking. Their panel, their students' panel, give us part. Okay, maybe you can give us new deadlines and all that, and then you can take the rest. Where if they penalize, if they default, then you can penalize them. Now, that instance, you notice that some of my mates were clueless. They didn't know what to say at all, also some way, because you make all the noise, and right now they invite you to the table, give a solution. So it's not really about eloquence, because and I've sat with ministers, deputy ministers, where they want to hear you. I remember this university, the measure of GIJ, NARTEY, GIO, and others. I was privileged to be part of people who were looking at the measure of the Constitution, and we're in the Flagstaff House, and I recall very well the Honorable Minister for Information. He made submission, and I had to come in and say that in all these things, it's important that we engage the student. Now, at that time, you notice that I said government are not doing that, so we'll merge them and all that. But you have to put your point across, and it must be cogent before they will listen. If not, they will not. Frankly speaking, a lot of the ministers and the government, they will not take it serious. Because when they invite you to the table, you'll see how really empty you are.
Yes. So the eloquence is very, very important. That's not all that is needed. But it sets the stage, because you need some aggregation, you need some critical mass. You need to get the people to appreciate the cause you are pushing. Then you can only get the people come to appreciate if you are able to articulate that. So you need the masses to support the cause. You can't overestimate the relevance of, if you like, eloquence in the scheme of things. So you need the eloquence. It's very, very important, because that's what will prepare you. There was, I say, attendee program here or UPSC, and then Honorable Kujoto, a special guest, and he was like not or encouraging about this student. People should take up student leadership role in your major challenge, you know, because it's the finest preparatory ground. So person we will be in future and now we want to climb the ladder. Also, we started from student politics. Current politicians, I know more, about 80 to 90% of them started as student leaders from both parties. I mean, the major parties and even smaller parties. They were either SRC executives, NUCs, or USAG, or almost all of them. So he was making the point, say, students should, I was saying, cultivated that habit, say opportunity by making ourselves available to serve our people, and that's what helped him. And as you see, we're building confidence, because those times this stage fright, you know, if you don't express yourself, now when your opportunity say nipa 4 or 5 cry, you might come out now and because one starting in term, and it's always starting. I say, what school every opportunity, bombardina classroom. Class rep na over contest just to give you opportunity to able to speak before your people. So one statista na oko school ube dani professor minister and na bibi na uba vetia na ye bisa questions untimi answer. No, because you didn't start from one cultivated that habit, you know. So he was telling me, there was a program now okasa ye na professor bi hey, how do you speak so eloquently? They say the secret is student leadership. You need that, because without that now there's no way you'll be able to achieve your own. Because as he said, we didn't know audience now. You still need somebody to come and articulate your concerns. So when you
say schools, no, you are all aware. Say leaders, no, politicians, mainstream politicians, or more influence be, or more infiltrating students. How does that affect what you do?
So I remember the immediate past NUC's president, the president during my time, Frank. He's coming up with a book, and I had to write more of like a brief there. Now I have this theory and philosophy that wrong, say politicians would mentor young people who eventually will become politicians or leaders. What is wrong is how they mentor them. I have a number of political fathers, people who believe in what I do, and they give me the opportunity to learn, do that which I'm convicted about. I know of others too, and I've had problems even right from university days where they control you and want to control your mind and everything. Great. That should tell you the type of leaders we have. And we, the youth, you have to be selective. It's true. A woman say the person would, invest in your campaign and all that. But before the person met you, the person saw certain traits about you, right? And you too, you have opportunity to say, oh, I like this honorable member more than this honorable member because he seems to give me more opportunity to explore and experiment and all that. In any case, all they ask you to do is that throw your weight behind us. There are ways of doing it, and that's why you learn the skill of writing. It's not to say hook, line, and sinker, you do what they ask you to do, but sometimes you appreciate, and even sometimes when you criticize and appreciate, it goes a long way to even support them and their cause. So I'm saying that you cannot, to be separate
their influence.
Their influence, we cannot. Except that you, the one who is mentored, you have a voice, you have a conviction. Before the politician came to you, he noticed that you could write. He noticed that you have an independent mind of your own before he approached you. And it will amaze you how I get my calls and all that. The recent book by Manasseh Ajuri on the former president, the 4th John, I was his research assistant. I was there when he reached out to me that this honorable member wants me to get in touch. And I got to the office, he wanted us to handle a similar book for him. So you add value to yourself as a young, politician or up and coming politician. And yes, sir, because it's very true.
Gaps, Congress, now more.
And now, almost say and laugh at us. Almost rare, Debia. I'm a Kufuor scholar, and Honorable Kujetutu came, and he addressed us, and I mean, I'm part of the Kufuor scholars, and he said that Nooks, what is happening at Nooks is something which is shameful and disgraceful. Nooks won't say they be NPP, NDC, and he told the entire scholars that, and mentioned my name, that KABU, you guys need to sort out what is happening at Nooks. And so they are the same people who come and tell you that they are more idea. I mean, we can't even engage you.
That insight also.
Exactly. So it is high time that you, the student leader, know we need to be selective. Add value to yourself. Let them call you. And those who are you're already in touch and then they invest in you, you need to be selective of the philosophies and all that. We've gone past the level of he who pays the piper calls the tune. And so we as youth, and it all comes back to some will not even add value to themselves, know how to write, know how to speak, have an independent mind, and they go around chasing politicians. When they get you, they will use you.
Sometimes if you have party A or party B supporting you, now by leader, let's say SRC president, and then administration school, said the boss or the leader of that institution also for party B, whereby party A, where do you draw the lines and how do you manage say a jumana because o nim say where there or MPP boy and NDC boy SRC mafia, how do you manage it? Say also jumana that is to lead students obey me.
So we student leaders, SRC president in this context, example he needs to be diplomatic in his affairs. We must make it clear that any party petty politics but is a student. And sometimes management know. But how you put your point across, say, should you do this for us? This is what the students will be thinking of you and saying of you. And remember, sometimes we tend to see party politics as in Crawford, they don't feel, or they don't have feelings. They are human. And so if you are able to meet them, and then you put your point across and all that, they listen to you. As much as possible, separate politics from student affairs, because and cause issue.
The word of the day now, so ever to Welcome back. You're still watching Badu Unscripted. And here, youth in politics and asset leadership. And I have with me E11 and KABU NARTEY. What word do you have for us?
I'll go for surreptitious.
But you repeat it, why?
Surreptitious.
Surreptitious?
Yes.
What does it mean?
It means to do something secretly, so something without approval. Because when you say, if you try to get the approval, probably you will not get the approval. So you try to do it secretly and achieve that behind the scene, clandestinely. And so but the same thing secretly and all of that, surreptitious.
Okay. Government. Government. It means the most serious part of an issue. And so if you have maybe a conflict between someone, more argument, the serious aspect, you hit the person, and you take you on, and you say that the gravamen of the argument was when you exchanged or you more of like affected pain or inflicted pain on the person.
Okay. I was for surreptitious, and I had to we secretly behind closed doors. Would be any government serious aspects of, let's say, a discourse, and I said to be anti. Who could share where your baby are now? The guests not answering. You try to move big question, big answer. My favorite. Fatima, are you ready? Where is the world located?
World. F.
What's the full meaning of Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi. I think you lost.
Pass. What is the color of your blood?
Red.
What does LOL mean? Stands for?
LOL, laugh out loud.
Half a loaf is?
Better than.
Obedience is?
Obedience is
Better
than.
Disobedience.
Disobedience. If dogs bark, what do cats do?
They meow. Meow.
What two things can you never eat for breakfast?
Smoked fish.
Pork.
Lunch and dinner. She sells seashells at the seashore. You are repeating it 3 times, and I'll come to you. You do say.
She sells seashells. She sells seashell at the seashores.
That's right.
She sells seashell at the seashore.
Oh, Badu.
Let's go.
She sells seashells at the seashore.
Okay.
She sells seashells at the seashore. She sells seashells at the seashore.
Well, if you say MDP for air can fix the attitude, NDC for air can fix the country. Briefly.
KABU.
Okay, yeah. What's your?
You need the attitude to fix a problem, and the two are not mutually exclusive. And once you have leaders, the leaders have to be fixing the problem, whilst that attitude not changing also. So the two are not mutually exclusive.
I think fix the country because, Badu, if you look at the times Nkrofo said fix the attitude, it was when people started shouting fix the country. And so it's like an equalization, diversionary tactics. I've stated it. We know Ghanaians have problems with the attitude. But this is the time when Ghanaians say fix the country or fix the problems. And then you equalize by saying that fix your attitude. It's not really.
I think they've dropped it now. It's now we are fixing the country. Until that fix a new OB started here and then it didn't sell. So quickly it's been dropped. But and they even came apologizing. Let's be fair to them. Some apologize. It means that fix the attitude and it's been jettisoned data. And we are fixing it or let's fix it together. That is the narrative out there.
But you see, sometimes you, in the first place, you take
it was not
Ghanaians.
necessary.
In the first place, you take Ghanaians for granted. Make us say, hey, what's the show? Then you tell me last time when I came to host the show, I didn't do it well. So you are justified not to host the show well. You know, so I felt it was quite, I really had problems with that. But it's true. We should fix the country. And, later on, I mean, we can all agree that we also need to fix our attitude. But the time say fix the country. Let's fix it.
The future of Ghanaian politics, Omoka said, fix the country now. Now it's time for games. Until you pick 10 strokes each, no one fix it. 3, 2, 1. But when we get first, 10. 3, 2, 1, go.
Fixing one. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Hey, when I go. I say, whoa.
Okay.
I'll catch him when you catch him fingernails. Should have told me. Charlie, let me fix you. I say fix attitude. Then fix it. I tell you about fix attitude. Hey! But who can you? Hey, Hassan Bin. Let me have given up.
9.
This is my senior, but I will not forgive him.
8.
You bullied me, Papa.
7.
At least me about coin.
6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Stop work. Let's see.
Hey!
Please, we have to see. Pleasure having you. I'm sure I'm why I'm going to any of you. Instead of Ghana, it will soon. Unscripted ABC. Now, Ansana, you guess you have ATL for say over Shuiswa, they give you a piece of ATL. From ATL, never do unscripted ABC. Mr. Kabinati.
Thank you so much, ATL.
Salad. Another jollof so. Thank you. Until we meet again same time next week, please don't forget to live, love, and happy. So are you going out to ATL? We run collection at Don't Farms, Peacock Studios, and then Beauty Plus Hair GH. And if I do some formal hand now, if you will be a new producer, new production assistant director, and whom you know. Omo sorry omani aje ka o hanga be hu ebi say ezi bye this star dorista e de aduane e ba aduane a e de nti we hwe mo bodin na eno an se obekọ Instagram na Facebook so ko sa won so ne me editring komo a ko Instagram me dia ho ye Badu_GH1 na bibia wo ka fa show yi ho so no na e ka cho ko YouTube na ko subscribe to Badu's Unscripted channel yada mas na hope on insha bibia makwa mo